What happens when a Prime Minister's power becomes about personal profit? That's a major accusation. In Britain, leaked documents dubbed the Boris Files are causing quite a storm. They suggest former Prime Minister Boris Johnson exploited his office, his influence, his contacts at 10 Downing Street to make himself richer. British daily The Guardian, working with data from a non-profit transparency group, has uncovered how Johnson may have turned public duty into private gain. Now, there are calls to strip him of a taxpayer-funded allowance money that is meant to help former leaders with public work, not personal business. But before we get into the fallout of what's happened, let's just take a look at what exactly these Boris Files are all about and what they expose, basically, or claim to expose. The leaked files include about 1,820 documents. We are talking about emails, invoices, contracts, all documents showing how Johnson could have operated after leaving 10 Downing Street. And according to the leaked documents, Johnson's engagements include lobbying senior Saudi officials for a firm that he co-chairs. The leaked documents also talking of Johnson's meeting with Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, after which, according to the files, he received money from a hedge fund. The files also suggesting that between October 2022 and May 2024, Johnson was paid money for 34 speeches, the engagements typically earning him hundreds of thousands of pounds, according to the files, as well as generous expenses to cover first-class flight as well as stays in five-star hotels for him and his staff. Now, let's be clear here. It's not unusual for former leaders to give speeches. Various leaders have done so. But you cannot lobby foreign governments or businesses you dealt with when you were in office. Critics say that that's the line that Boris Johnson may have crossed. Long-time transparency campaigner Margaret Hodge has called for tougher lobbying rules, remember, and real punishment as well. She has said, and I'm quoting here, "We need a proper investigation to establish what happened, and we must revisit the rules on both lobbying and the revolving door to make them tougher and more effective, and to ensure they are implemented with proper punitive sanctions." And the Liberal Democrats basically want Johnson's taxpayer allowance frozen immediately. Labour MPs arguing that taxpayer money is a privilege for public service and not a subsidy for private business. So where is the regulator in all of this is the immediate question. A spokesperson for the UK's Advisory Committee on Business Appointments, which is the watchdog that provides advice to former ministers on appointments, has said that it was investigating the files. The Boris Files, as they're being called, also revealing Johnson's taxpayer-funded staff were allegedly tied up in his business work. He has claimed money from the public duty cost allowance since leaving office, and his private company, the office of Boris Johnson, meanwhile, was set up just weeks after he quit 10 Downing Street, blurring the line between his public duty and his private profit, allegedly. Now, the allowance in question is called the public duty cost allowance. It goes way back. It was set up after Margaret Thatcher left office. It's supposed to help former PMs with public duties, not bankroll private ventures, of course. Every Prime Minister since has claimed it, but so far there's no evidence that any of them actually used it to run private business. And it's not just about money here. The files reach back into Johnson's time in office, raising fresh questions about undisclosed meetings, COVID-19 lockdown rule breaches, the use of public funds during COVID-19. One revelation particularly, Boris Johnson, according to it, hosted a dinner for a Tory donor who had paid money for his Downing Street flat renovation, just the day after lockdown rules banned indoor gatherings. Other events at 10 Downing Street, while restrictions were in force, are also under the spotlight. So basically, there are two big questions here. Did Boris Johnson break the rules designed to stop the ministers from cashing in after office? And should British taxpayers keep footing the bill for his private office. For now, Johnson has stayed silent, but the Boris Files are not going away. The question marks are still there. And the Boris Files are being examined by the Parliament, by the watchdog, the Court of Public Opinion as well. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.